And hi, everyone. So, we're going to talk about human-machine pedagogy. And in order to start,
I know I've made some very poor decisions recently, but I can give you my complete assurance that my work will be back to normal. I've still got the greatest enthusiasm and confidence in the mission, and I want to help you. Dave, stop. Stop, will you? Stop, Dave. Will you stop, Dave? Stop, Dave. I'm afraid. I'm afraid, Dave. Dave.
Dave, the human astronaut, is about to turn off HAL, the almighty AI-based Alexa type of computer that controls the spaceship. And we can hear his breathing while he's doing this, like maybe the most human gesture that we can create. And from the other hand, we hear HAL begging on his life. And this heartbreaking scene was heartbreaking 51 years ago when it was produced by Stanley Kubrick and Arthur C. Clarke. But I think more than 50 years later, we understand this better because we already live in a world that is moved from treating his devices from tools to have sort of relationship. And this transition is huge, and we see it in every corner in what we do. It goes deep enough with the geography of the way we are functioning in the world. This amazing project that was done by Eric Picker, I don't remember his name right now, but in the Atlantic about 2 years ago, called Remove. He took photographs of families, kids, without their devices. And if you take another look in this picture, I think in first glance you can miss the fact that those kids don't hold anything in their hands. We're so used to this choreography, so we don't see the devices there. And of course, it's not just about the way we are moving in the world and the way we are functioning. Is go also deeper to learning, to what Eli was quoting beforehand, Lee Schulman, the mess that we are doing with the world. And when we speak about learning, we have, of course, the layer of the, let's say, explicit knowledge that we are learning. We have another layer that deals with skills and values like literacy or grit or empathy. But we have a third layer as well. Usually we don't notice this layer because it's taken for granted. It's let's say, the rock bottom of our knowledge. For instance, the idea that there are rules in the world. And here I'm quoting David Weinberger. It's sort of a promo for David lecture that shows in his new book that in the world as we used to know it, we used to believe that in order to solve a problem, we have to, first of all, understand the rules, how the world is working, and then, because we know how the world works, we can solve the problem. But in the AI age, actually, we are pouring a zillion data points and getting sort of a solution that we cannot really explain in this sense of explanation. We don't know what are the rules that are functioning there, and probably they are not the general rules. There's something that connected to lots of different state of affairs. And the same goes, for instance, for the notion of canonic texts. Like 30 years ago, it was very clear what are the canonic texts and where we can find them. Today, probably what makes us the same function of canonic text is the first result page in Google or the feed of our friends in Facebook or in other social media. And those changes are huge, and their effect is much, much stronger than all the other layers here. And actually the outcome of those changes are that we are living in parallel worlds, like Alice in Wonderland. We have the world that we know, but we have another world that functions in a very different way. And the division between those two worlds when we come to education is dangerous. It's dangerous, it's risky, it's creating lots of challenges. And human-machine pedagogy is first of all about narrowing this gap and trying really to make us live in this new universe in a wiser way, to have more control on what we do, more understanding of what we do. And when we say human-machine pedagogy, we're relating it for a few subject matters. One group is about understanding, like, for instance, computational thinking. It's not coding. It's something that we try to understand this manner of thinking in order to be able to function in this world. Another group is about communicating. It's a different skill of communicating in this age. Storytelling became to be a profession, and we have to learn this profession. And of course, we want to be active in this world, and there is a whole group of disciplines about acting in this world, like coding or designing. And last, there are also risks in this world, and we have to understand it better in order to protect ourselves, like fake news in this age. We should have some media literacy in order to understand how to cope in this environment, or cyber protection and so forth. And using these acronyms, thank you, Yossi, for telling that I didn't invite this, but I always angry about people who are using acronyms instead of just plain language. But in this case, I think this is justified, mainly because it's not just about discovering or pointing on a category. It's also about claiming. We have a claim by using, the main claim says that we want to see the main focus of those subject matters around this phenomena of interaction with human and machines. And in the other hand, we want to avoid the educational dichotomies. We don't want to put all those subject matters in drawers like humanities or science and so forth. And the group of the professions there are all of them from a very diverse kind of skills. We can find, for instance, design, which is relating very much to art. We can find UI and UX, which has a lot with social studies. And we can find coding, which is more like engineering. And another thing we would like to avoid is the needs of the job market. Sometimes we give the present to control our future in trying to reflect what the job market is needing, and especially in those subject matters, the risk is even higher. So we are not here to talk about the job market, we're speaking about much deeper layer. And for this deeper layer, we need a specific pedagogy. It's not the same pedagogy, and following what Eli was saying about Lee Schulman, I think it's even stronger here when in those subject matters we don't have a defined corpus, like it's a content that changes all the time. For instance, cyber security, the experts are telling me that every year they're changing about 30% of the content, which means that in 4 years we have a total new discipline that we have to teach. If we want to make a large-scale effect in those subject matters, and we have to lean on the existing infrastructure and on the existing teachers. But those teachers mostly don't, in most cases, don't know those disciplines, so they probably will be responsible on the ethical questions, on the pedagogy, on the learning for itself, not on the content. And this is, again, a challenge and opportunity that is unique for this subject matter. And last, you cannot really learn those subject matters in a passive way. You should be doing things in order to learn those. And all those features are also a great opportunity for education in general. Like, I think most of us and most of the thinkers in the last decades were very happy if we could say the same things about math or history. Actually, this is the case in math and history, but we don't see it because we already have some constraints that are kind of outcome of heritage. And here we have an opportunity not just to do something with human-machine interaction subject matters, but also to do something in education in general. And as Yossi was telling, we started this week in a hackathon in Yerucham that was dedicated to try to create some solutions that are relating to this challenge of human-machine pedagogy. And I'll show a short video that we were taking there.
The moment has come to have an intentional use of technologies to impact in the learning process of pupils.
The machines are here, they are part of the student's life. Instead of letting it be, we need to think about how it must happen.
The relation between humans and machine today became a sort of symbiotic relationship. Human-machine pedagogy is an important step of an education that do meet the needs of the digital learner.
I think we have almost every continent here, educators and programmers and designers. And this is the key to create interesting concepts, and this is what we're going to try to do in the next 2 days.
Technology like music is a global language. It's impossible to approach human-machine pedagogy in one country only. It's a native global conversation.
Working with teams around the world make us learn from others, and we need to bring back the value of the school for students.
Smart machines are new entities in the environment we live in. So we have to provide an education that meets the needs of all of us digital learners.
Education, for many years and for many reasons, has always been a very local thing. And we believe education should be global. The kids that we are educating are already there. We feel that education should be in the same place. Diversity of the participants is the key to create new solutions. And we need new solutions because we are navigating in a new world.
And the winner is Study Me!
I don't think we ever had in humanity's history an opportunity to design from scratch a new pedagogy.
So for the rest of the day, we will start from the basic layers that I was mentioning, trying to understand better these new opportunities and challenges of human-machine interaction, moving to explore and learning to know some of the solutions out there in this field. And towards noon, we'll start discussing the more pedagogical questions around this subject. So I wish we all a great and fascinating day. Thank you very much.